lot of people said to me, don't go into construction. People like you are just not going to survive as an Asian woman. I remember doing about 80 applications when I was at university, and I got 3 job offers.
I like to look at our careers and our life as levers. And you can't have them all pushed forward at the same time.
We are trained in a certain way to see A to B as this straight path going upwards. Somehow we are always thinking like that. But actually A to B is up, down, backwards. What is your view on work-life balance?
I don't feel like I can give 100% in every direction.
When I was on a training course, there were 50 of us in the room, and there were only 2 of us who got through the first time round.
I'll be the first one to raise my hand that I don't know all the answers.
My husband was trying to be nice, but he said, don't worry about it. It's only a 3% success rate. Just go in and enjoy it.
Thanks for joining me today. We have gone through what you both have achieved, but Sue, do you want to kick off and share a little bit about your journey into real estate and how you got started and how you got first involved in your leadership roles?
Yes, of course. I actually fell into construction. I used to be a banking lawyer at a Magic Circle law firm, and that position was really hard to get. I remember doing about 80 applications when I was at university, and I got 3 job offers. And some of my male counterparts were doing 20 applications and were getting about 6 or 7 job offers. So I did that for a few years, worked there for a few years as a banking lawyer, and then I wanted to move in-house as a banking lawyer. And again, did about 40 to 50 applications, but this time 0, didn't get any job offers within the banking sector. So I cast my net wide and started looking at different types of jobs. And the job offer from Trafalgar House, as Skanska then was, came up, a construction firm. And I thought, I'm going to be here for a few years and then I'm going to leave. A lot of people said to me, don't go into construction. It's...
Why?
The people are really difficult to work with. People like you are just not going to survive as an Asian woman. Then the day I walked in, I still remember my first day, I just felt the culture was embracing and loving, and the people were so warm. And
it went against the stigma almost. Yeah.
Exactly. I think people who were making those comments were commenting from outside without the experience. And so 30 years later, I'm still there. And in terms of leadership, when I came back from my 4th maternity leave, sometimes it's being there at the right time, the right place. What the MD, who then looked after the London and South East sector for Skanska, where all these multi-million-pound contracts were being done, wanted a lawyer based in London as opposed to head office. And my boss said, can you just go there and, have your base there? And so that allowed me to advise on multi-million-pound contracts, very prestigious ones like the Scalpel, Heron Tower and the Gherkin. And I feel really privileged to be a part of that piece of London, and because I worked with great teams.
To be walking around the streets of London and be able to point at those buildings, right? That I was involved in that.
It's a real feeling of pride and remembering, it was a great team, collaboration with great Skanska colleagues.
So when you sat around the table for the first big deal, was it scary?
I came from banking, so the numbers were pretty scary there. But because the deals in the Magic Circle law firm were so huge, and I was just a very, very junior lawyer, I never really did anything on my own. So these were projects I was doing on my own. But it wasn't really scary because the process you have to apply for a £40 million contract is pretty much the same as a £400 million contract. You've got to apply the same scrutiny. You've got to show up in the same way. You've got to be able to work in a uniformed manner with all your colleagues, be they engineers or architects or quantity surveyors.
They follow similar processes, don't they? Yeah.
Exactly.
Has it changed since you began in the construction industry to now? The people around the table who sit next to you has it changed for you? Are we going in the right direction, do you think?
I think we definitely are. I think when I joined, there were very, very, very few brown people, very few women. I remember my recruitment agent, who actually put me forward, said to me, I don't think you'll get the job because they've just taken on another Asian girl. So in the legal department, so they're not likely to take you on because they've got to look at the stats and everything. But I did get the job offer. My boss was not looking at that at all. He was looking at me as a person
And merit.
and merit.
I do talk about that a lot actually,
Yes.
because it can go either way, right? People should be looked at from merit
Yes.
perspective
Merit,
rather than
Yes, and I had a
Filling a quota. Yeah.
Exactly, and I had a catastrophic interview. I remember both my contact lenses fell out, and I was balancing them on my fingers, and my eyes were streaming, and I thought, that's me done. They're not going to give me a job offer. But the stats have definitely improved, and it's more multicultural, which is really really fantastic to see. But we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. Yeah, I would agree.
Gemma, can you tell us about your story into the industry?
Yes, I can.
Did you always wanted
yes.
to be in cost consultancy?
No,
because I know Sue wanted to always be a lawyer, right?
Yes.
You said you were so stubborn that this is what you wanted to do.
No, I think it never entered my head at all. I did consider being a lawyer at one point. I studied Latin. I went to an all-girls school. But I think by the age of 16, I'd sort of had enough of learning and decided to leave school actually. So I skipped my A-levels. And I did okay in my GCSEs, but I wasn't really that applied to them. And I signed up for Kingston College. I decided I'm going to go completely different way and do art and graphics and computer studies. But then I just by accident started working for a project management company and quickly moved into IT via that route. So via that project management company, they did IT as well. And I spent the next 5 years doing IT. And I managed to work my way up. I was managing a help desk, managing
you started
a
with
small
client
team.
management to then working towards project, right?
So client management and people management. So from a very early age, I was, age 20-ish, I was already managing people. So I guess my leadership skills were there a little bit there already. But yeah, I decided after about 5 years in IT to change tack. And I started working for a little construction company. They mainly did fit outs and maintenance, really. So I ended up in charge of, I think it was about 10 engineers who used to go to site and do planned maintenance and reactive maintenance and small fit out work. But I worked alongside a quantity surveyor that was obviously a contractor's quantity surveyor at the time. And I just thought, right, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I must have felt so passionate about it because I then embarked on replacing what I didn't do in my A-levels with a diploma. Wow. And I did it in the evenings.
So he inspired you, really, isn't it, as well? So.
Totally inspired. Yeah. And I sort of worked full time. So I did my studies in the evenings and weekends. So I did that for my diploma. And then I moved to a consultancy, QS firm, and did the same again. So I did my degree through open learning. So I did that in my own spare time, if you like. And that was it, really. It was just, there's a straight road. I want to do quantity surveying. It was just mind set on it. But
so just to recap on it then, no one ever introduced QSing to you. So had you not done that role and fell into that space, you would not have known about that as a career.
Yeah. Bizarre. It was totally by accident and a squiggly career to get there, really.
Which is incredible, isn't it? Because when I speak at schools sometimes, I show them this. We are trained in a certain way to see A to B as this straight path going upwards. Somehow we are always thinking like that. But actually A to B is up, down, backwards, tangential.
Exactly. And you might try one thing and you might decide, okay, that's not for me, but that's okay. And you might, succeed at something completely different. So
But when I was of that age, when I was younger, I was very impatient
Yeah.
because there is a certain level of expectation you build up for yourself, the
Yes.
people around you build up for you.
Yeah.
Whereas now I look back and I was like, actually, I wish someone had told me what you just said,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
it's okay to
Yes.
Try different things.
Yes.
Really.
to meander a bit
Yeah.
and then figure out, oh, actually, I'm good at this. I enjoy this, and that could work out as well, rather than have this like, I mean,
Yeah.
very few people are as lucky and talented as you, Sue.
No,
where
no,
you
no.
just like you knew
No,
what you were
but
doing.
just
That's
picking
it.
up on Gemma's point, you know, I'm a consultant for Skanska, and it's not what I wanted to do, but I had to duck and dive because of my 4 children. I knew 2 things were certain in my life which I wanted, and one was I wanted to raise my children as much as I could myself, and the second was I never wanted to give up my career. And now my children are older, they're mini adults. I'm so glad I made that decision. But, you know, like you were saying, Gauri, I always thought my path would be very straight. You know, maybe get into a law firm and become a partner. But it wasn't to be. So I had to compromise, and it wasn't what I wanted. But having those 2 focuses in my life were like helped me to navigate what I had to do.
I think you can't always do everything. I like to look at our careers and our life as levers, and you can't have them all pushed forward at the same time. So I think that's it. Sometimes you learn to sort of maybe pull back on one thing
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
you push in another direction.
I love that. You know,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Whereas when you're at uni, you think both levers are going to go in the one direction,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're always led to believe there is this balance you're striving for. This is the one question I get asked quite a lot, even when I'm mentoring.
Can you have it all?
Or
I bet it is.
what is your view on work-life balance? So
Yeah.
what is your view on work-life balance? Do you both have a view of work-life balance?
I think it's life balance. I don't think it's work-life balance. So for me, I'm always trying to keep just everything, I guess, balanced. But that's a silly answer. But you know, I don't feel like I can give 100% in every direction. So it's being very aware of your limitations. So you know, I know in order to work well, I need to keep my health balanced.
Yes.
You know, that's paramount.
Yes.
But in order to keep my sanity, I also need to make sure that I'm doing well on the home front and my, you know, looking after my son.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I think it's keeping them all going, but you can't be 100% in everything.
I completely agree. I remember when I first joined Skanska, and even when I was at the Magic Circle law firm, you know, I would come in the morning and people would be discussing some hot case. Especially when I was like having had children, I was bleary-eyed and I was thinking, what case are they talking about? I haven't got a clue. And I used to feel I wasn't giving my 100% on either, like, you know, sometimes not being there for the children to pick them up from the school gates. But I think what you mentioned, Gemma, is really important. Putting your own gas mask on first, which is health.
Yeah.
So I've always been extremely selfish in my health. You know, I do toddle off to the gym.
Yeah.
Whereas people are saying, you know, my children would say, where are you going? What about breakfast?
Yeah.
You know, but I am very selfish like that because I know I need to keep myself fit.
That's something I need to
Very
learn from you.
important.
Yeah. I struggle with that.
Yeah.
I really struggle with that because I'm always thinking about the next thing to do for other people rather
I think
than...
that's difficult when you've got a younger child as well. I think they're very reliant upon you. But yeah, no, it is important to keep that as one of the factors.
I think it took me a while to learn that actually the balance is it's like looking at a P&L. It gives you a snapshot of your life right now.
Yeah.
You know, rather than what it should be, like 50% life is work, 50% is play. It's more like right now, I'm recording this podcast, I'm speaking with you guys, I'm preparing for the next episodes and so on.
Yeah.
So the time is gone into, the strength is gone there, and I know that certain elements will be a bit on the back burner.
Yeah.
Like you said, the levers. So
levers,
you are
yeah.
trying to pull the levers and balancing it out
Yes.
and figuring it out as you go.
Yes.
Kind of thing, rather
Yes.
than, oh no, I'm doing this, but then I need to be 100% as a mum as well.
Yeah.
Whereas no, today
There is
I
no
have,
100%. You can't achieve it.
Exactly. So today
Exactly.
I've told my husband that you're in charge, because
Yeah.
I really have to focus at work,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I cannot be 100% at home.
And I think that's also very important. That's a good point, is the delegation part. So
Yes.
whether that be at work or at home, learning to delegate, learning to, give other people responsibility for stuff. It may not be done exactly the way that you want it done.
Yes.
It may be done in their way, but, it's better if something gets done than nothing.
Yes. I think we're lucky, because I know you both, we've all got supportive partners.
Yeah.
I think you need that internal infrastructure.
Yeah.
And also that external infrastructure. So I think the only reason why I have been able to raise 4 children and to have a career I love, and still be at Skanska, and every day I walk in, even 30 years later, I still have a spring in my step, is because of the people around me. I see a lot of my Skanska colleagues as my friends. They have been there in the dark days when I had babies and they were sick. And guess what? I did something really unusual, which was working from home, back in the days, which was unheard of in those days.
Oh,
But
totally,
people
right?
completely understood and said, don't worry about it. Don't worry if you can't turn up.
Yeah.
Had they had a different attitude, I wouldn't still be at Skanska. Yeah. So can you have it all? I think you can, but you need the right internal home structure and the work structure. And because I was so grateful that my Skanska colleagues were so kind to me, I didn't want to give 100% back. I wanted to give 200% back, because I feel really grateful to them.
Gemma, you then started a new opportunity at RLB as well. You set up their public sector work.
I did, yes. So I
That must have
actually,
been challenging.
Yeah. So I inherited a very small public sector. I think somebody left and they needed somebody to run public sector. I took that opportunity and grew it. I think we doubled it in the first year, and then just continued to go from there. It grew quite large, actually, far outweighed my expectations of where it might go. I was probably doubtful of myself, I guess, but which is lovely. Now I know, and it's led me on to this new opportunity, actually, because doing that, proving that to myself has made me believe that I can, go off and do it, somewhere else. So, yeah.
How amazing. You touched upon relationships, Sue, earlier. And just to discuss that a bit further, how did you both meet?
So we met in one of the Circle partnership events. And so I walked into, I think it was a Christmas party, and there was a sea of strange faces. And I think Gemma was one of the first people I knocked into, and I just saw this wonderful, smiling, warm face, which I just gravitated to. Honestly, it wasn't us enjoying a glass of wine together. It was that warm face of, very welcoming face. And since then, Gemma, as you have, Gauri, you've both been a real safe space for me. And how we met and how we become friends, I think, I often think a bit of a mystery, but you've become an invaluable part of my life.
Is this how you remember the story as well, Gemma?
It was definitely a Mentor and Circle event, yes. Now the Circle partnership. So I joined as a mentee.
Okay.
Yeah, so interested about the Squiggly careers thing, even though I'd been a project director at ACOM back then. And even though my career trajectory has always been really good and I've always advanced through, I don't know why, but I didn't feel ready to take on the mentoring role at Circle Partnership. So I went in as a mentee. So there we go. But I did that for a year and learned, sort of grew to know how to do the mentoring, gain my confidence, and then I've moved on to be a mentor. But I remember walking in and seeing Sue, and again, warm faces. We just clicked.
We clicked. Yeah, absolutely.
It was
yes.
talking about our sort of experiences.
Yes.
In the industry, and we just clicked from there on, and then we
so
met.
we have the Circle partnership to thank for.
We do.
isn't
We have,
it?
absolutely.
Vanessa and Kerry.
Friendship. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was describing it to Sue's husband. It's like there's Circle partnership, which is I can only describe as a Venn diagram, and then there is a little circle inside it, which felt like us with
the overlapping bit. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, how do you think strong network of friends, especially women, have impacted your careers?
I think it's that whole nourishment and support thing. Being able to lean in to industry friends has been really beneficial. So I grew up with 3 brothers, so very sort of male-dominated household. And I've always been I thought of myself as a bit of a tomboy. And then, of course, I worked in IT, and then I worked in construction. So my working life has been very sort of male-dominated as well. And I probably spent the best part of a lot of my early years in my career being quite trying to fit in as one of the lads. So really, I think the Circle partnership it's really opened my mind and my eyes to, the opportunities out there to get to know women.
Don't they also pitch women against each other as well? Like there is that narrative.
It feels kind of like there's a rivalry, even within businesses.
Yes.
I think there's almost like a rivalry, and I don't know where that comes from. It's probably we best blame the patriarchy because it's too difficult to unpick, I think, but it does exist. I think there is there's kind of a rivalry, or they're pit off against each other, whereas I think the Circle partnership has been more about really championing each other, and you meet people that really want you to succeed.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think from my perspective, I'm probably coming to the latter part of my career. And one thing which I found astounding with the Circle partnership is meeting women who are of my age and they still want to go and develop. And we're not going to be getting our woolen cardigans and our slippers out anytime soon at all. We are still going for it, and we still I've taken on some new challenges.
Yeah, we know about them.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about them? Because we had it like a surprise as well.
Yes, but you see, I'm not unusual with when I meet people at the Circle partnership, because a lot of them are doing the same thing, like changing jobs and still striving. Yeah, so I went back to the judiciary as a part-time judge.
Amazing.
I sort of resigned, and then I went back in. And then I took on a new role with the police force.
Can we just circle back on that as well? Because the listeners needs to hear this, that not everyone gets into it. It's like 2% of people who apply get into it, and you've done it
Sue's
not
done it
once,
twice.
Yes. Yes.
So because once wasn't enough.
No,
she
well,
had
once
to
I made a
prove
mistake.
it again for the next generation.
Yes. So there is a 3% success rate. If you take, there's about 5 rounds when you apply for the judiciary. And I remember when I sat my first exam back in 2010, on my way out, my husband, he was trying to be nice, but he said, "Don't worry about it. It's only a 3% success rate. Just go in and enjoy it. Enjoy the exam." What? But I got through, and I did it for about 12 years. And then I think in 2021, I was working all the time with my Skanska deals and judiciary, and I decided to resign. And the senior members of the judiciary were saying, "Don't resign, take a sabbatical, think about it, don't." And I forgot how my children were really young when I got through, and I abandoned them for about 6 months going through the process. I forgot all that, I was just thinking about, no, I don't want to be working all the time. I don't want to be working my weekends. I want to be having a lie-in and whatever. But a week later, as soon as I resigned, I regretted it. So I went to somebody senior and said, oh, actually, I've made a mistake. And they said, sorry, you're going to have to reapply because you cut off the payroll. So, yeah, so I did. So the first time, I actually got through the first time round, and I didn't realise that was unique. So when I was on a training course, there were 50 of us in the room, and there were only 2 of us who'd got through the first time round. The second time, it took me 4 goes to get through.
Wow.
And the third time, I got knocked out on the last round. But I knew that this is what I wanted. And so I had to just pick myself up, and it was devastating, but I had to just take it on the chin.
That's determination for you, isn't it?
Yeah. What did you like when you're faced with failure and you had it before? What do you tell yourself to get back up again and keep going?
When I was doing it the first time round, I was sort of a certain person, which I liked. I was really busy. I found the work really difficult, but really challenging. I felt my brain cells were developing and expanding. It was a huge sense of achievement. And then when I resigned and then I didn't get through, what was keeping me going was that feeling that I knew it was right for me, because I actually lost confidence when I gave up. I realised I actually went through a bit of mourning, I think. It was like losing some. It was a grief. And I never would have expected that at all.
Wow, how interesting. And now you have another challenge to add to the
Yes.
mix of things.
Yes, so I'm involved with the police on police misconduct cases. And I did my first trial last week.
And you weren't going to do it, were you? Or you had your friends to...
I just applied, didn't think I would get through, but I did. And it's just been a wonderful experience. Again, I'm meeting people, like in construction, feels very similar to construction. Yeah. There's people who look very different to me, but they are so warm and accommodating and embracing. I just got on with everybody when I do my first trial. It's all about the people.
Yeah.
The people's perception of an organisation from the outside is so different when you roll your sleeves up and you get on with it and you meet real people who are kind and understanding.
Yeah.
How are you using the friendships in your lives to navigate difficult, challenging situations?
I've definitely been faced with some challenges, I think, fair to say, over the time we've known each other, career decisions. And I think bringing things to the group has really helped to give sort of clarity on things, and challenge your own thoughts. I think is really helpful. In particular, I remember one time I was approached by a very small and sort of up and coming emerging company who offered me a shareholding. You might remember, Gauri. I gave you. We had a little Teams call. Almost like a business lesson for me.
I got so excited. I think I bored Gemma to death, like 2 hours or something, talking about shareholding.
Yeah, because it's not a side of a business that I've never looked into that before. So I knew that you were the right person to call upon.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you for your advice. I just think it's great to have each other to lean on. Yeah.
So I had a big decision to make last year, and I called upon you two, and we chatted it through, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted from you both. Did I want to be heard, hugged, or helped? Which is something one of my sons always uses when I'm talking to him. Mum, do you want to be hugged, heard, or helped? And I think, well, I don't know. I just want to chat.
That's a very nice way.
Yes. So when I approached you two, I wasn't sure what I wanted. I think actually what I wanted was that I wanted you to tell me what to do, because I felt I was at a bit of a crossroads. But I always remember, Gemma, what you said, which really stuck with me. And you said to me, I think you're going to do... Because you chose your words very carefully. You didn't say do what, order. You just said, I think you're going to do what makes you shine. I thought, wow. And that made me decide that it's not all about chasing the big titles. It's doing what you actually enjoy around the people you like to be with, because then you do shine.
Yeah.
So I'm always grateful for that. That you're very diplomatically making that comment. I'm very grateful to you for that.
Oh, now look at you.
I
Shining
know,
away.
Shining away. For me,
It's the face
been,
cream.
For me, it has been really, even if it's a good thing that has happened or a challenging question, our group is probably the first one I reach out to share a little success, or, this happened. Or when I see a message from either of you in the morning, then it's nice. Or, Gemma started her week and I saw the messages from Sue, good luck today.
Reported in, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
See your lovely outfit. We had to get into that detail, didn't we? We had to see that. What you're wearing on the first day.
And I guess why this is important is I have been there where I have felt lonely at times.
Yeah.
So you are in sea of people, but you're not feeling the connection with people, and and that's not because you don't have friends or things like that, but it's someone within the industry who knows what the challenges are within that industry,
absolutely,
understands the industry, and is able to relate with you.
Exactly.
Which generally wouldn't happen all the time with everyone because of the things we share. So the unspoken things, like that when you talk about, I'm going for that meeting, and what kind of meeting that's going to be, you can kind of quickly relate to it. So for me, it is, I lean on you guys quite a lot when I have to talk about something or figure something out. So thank you so much.
I think it's because the three of us are in the construction industry.
Yes.
And, you've both done really well in it and understand exactly. If I'm saying something, you know exactly what I'm saying. And it is slightly different compared to talking to a very good friend who's not in the construction industry.
Sometimes it helps as well, right? Because they bring a perspective which is not...
Yes, but it is different.
Yeah, it is
talking
different.
to someone who exactly knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or that challenging project, or that, the challenge you would have of getting the right people on the right time on the right project kind of thing. So, have you leaned on each other for advice and support? Do you, or any friends you lean on advice and support? Because I really want to highlight as to how leaders have to think. And sometimes you don't know all the answers, although it's a way it has been portrayed, someone, leading a company or leading a team. I mean, I'll be the first one to raise my hand that I don't know all the answers. I really look around me and I surround myself with people who are smarter than me,
Absolutely.
who are better than me, and then I can learn from them. If I walk into a room knowing that there are a lot of people here who are smarter than me, I feel really energized.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely, that's the way to build a team, isn't it? That you all bring different things to the table. And almost like you can know your limitations because you have the smart people around you and you kind of make that team up.
Absolutely.
Among people. Have we shaped each other's leadership? I think we learnt something when we went to Sue's recent birthday. We learnt something about Sue. So we learned lots of things about Sue that day.
Not all of it's true.
I think all of the attendees stood up and gave a little speach, so including us, but in particularly, which was really lovely, was your children getting up to speak. And apparently Sue used to shout, "Go the extra mile," at the school gates, much to your children's embarrassment, I think. But I think it's that really. It's that's inspired me and you, I'm sure. Is that
I actually was telling Peter, my son, about this the other day, and he's like, "Why have you suddenly started saying go the extra mile every day?"
But it's that
Oh.
kind of thing, you know, we take that into our
Yes.
leadership and our decisions about business or, you know, that kind of strong inspiration, I think.
And I think in whatever capacity, you know, to be a good leader, I think you need to be comfortable with your environment. You know, there's a very common term, a fashionable term, which is branded around, which is bring yourself to work. And I think if you can be yourself, and so like you coming to my birthday, you know, you were with my friends and my family, and you know, I think we all were ourselves, if you know what I mean. You know, professionally, you know, we're very similar. We're not that different, and it feels very comfortable. And I think it's the same when I, you know, do work at Skanska. It's very comfortable. You know, I don't feel I'm different, and it's with other people. They're very themselves, and
You
that
don't
helps.
have to show up as a, like, when leadership, there is a certain vision people have, and then if you try to show up as that rather than how you really are,
Yeah.
then there is a problem, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people find out.
Yeah.
You get caught. Yeah.
I think that's probably quite an older style of leadership as well. I think if you'd have looked back 20 years ago, I think there was a persona that you bring to work.
Yes.
You know, and it's a different persona
Yes.
to the one you'd have at home
Yes.
or the one you'd have with your friends.
Yes.
And I think that's a dangerous position to be in, really, because, yeah, if you've got to be a different face for work and a different face for at home, a different face for your friends, or
Yes.
whatever, you're not in line with yourself. You're not in sync.
Exactly.
So-
You're not yourself, and therefore
Yeah.
you can't do the best in your job, be it your home job
Yeah.
or your work job.
Yeah.
So
And that's why I think it's important to find somewhere or create your own place where the values reflect you.
yes,
So you are
absolutely.
acting in sync because it all aligns with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can be yourself.
Yeah.
How interesting. Because I've never, it's quite an interesting way of looking at things, isn't it? But like we were talking about the Gen Z a while ago and how
Yeah.
they reach out to each other, and that's
Yes.
Children, yeah.
Yes.
Our
Yeah.
children, yeah.
Yes.
They're not afraid to reach out,
No.
are they?
No, I think we don't do it as much, but I think we should learn from the Gen Z. I mean, I was fascinated with my children. Whenever they got a job interview, the first thing they would do is they would reach out to LinkedIn, and make contact with people they'd never heard before. And they'd say, oh, I've got a job interview at such and such. You work at such and such. Can you
we
share?
would have never thought of it,
I would never
right?
thought it. Can you share your interview experience, please?
Yeah.
And people would. But then the great thing is people have now started reaching out to them,
Yeah.
and they're giving back their time.
That's lovely,
And,
isn't it?
and to them, it's normal to have a conversation with somebody they've never met before and give them all the guidance.
Funnily enough, we're circling back to circle partnership here. And they've probably seen their mum do it, but you maybe not so much aware that that's what you are doing. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly,
There's
yeah.
you giving your time
Yes.
to the mentees.
Yes.
And
Good. Yeah, very
Yeah.
good analogy. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We didn't have LinkedIn at the time as well, did we? Or the access. And that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast,
yeah.
that we didn't have access to people like you, Sue or Gemma, and listen to people like you when I was in my formative time. When
Yes.
I was that young girl entering the industry,
Yes.
leadership was far away,
Yeah.
sat in a boardroom,
Yeah.
making decisions for my life, and
Yes.
you just wait and be told what to do.
And generally quite a different demographic to
100%.
ourselves.
But like I was lucky enough to work with some incredible leaders, and one of them was Bernd Hacker, who I have interviewed in the last podcast. And whenever he came, so he used to be based in Germany, but when he came in to London office, he would take some time out, even 5-10 minutes, to grab a cup of coffee with me.
Yeah.
At the time I used to
Nice.
drink coffee, but
Yes.
it was so valuable. Those 10 minutes meant the world to me.
Yeah.
For someone at his level coming and asking me, How are you doing?
Yes.
What are you finding out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I do something to help?
Yes.
Could we be doing something differently?
Have you got any conundrums you can't solve?
Yeah. And to have that, whereas right now, I'm very not envious, but the new generation have all these ways of reaching
Yes.
the leaders or listening to their thoughts real
Yes.
time on X or on Instagram or LinkedIn. And it's so incredible to have access to all of this,
Yes.
which I would have killed for
Yes.
at that time.
Yes.
Although I think your example is far more valuable, I think, to actually give somebody your time. I mean, I used to say it when I was growing up, I was very lucky to have my grandparents around, and, they knew that the most precious thing was the time that they gave.
Yes.
So I think that's still very important in leadership, with your people, is to make sure you make time for them.
Yes.
Be it a once a week catch up or,
Yes.
once a month or, whatever people need. I think
Yes.
it's so important.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think, to succeed in the corporate world, you should never underestimate friendship.
Yeah.
And, when I went through a difficult time last year, I remember two people, it sort of came tumbling out. I would normally discuss stuff, but it just came tumbling out. And they were there to have a one-on-one and scoop me up and take me out and have a chat. And that is the one-on-one relationship you just can't replace with any form of social type media.
And then also, at whatever level you're at, you will always have self-doubt.
Yeah.
You will always have questions which you need to talk it through with someone. You can't have it all as an
rumbling
internal
around your
dialogue,
head.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly. And so those are the times when relationships at home, at work, you can lean in to
Definitely
just pick up the phone and
bounce things
have
off
a chat.
against.
Exactly. Just
Definitely.
Yes.
I still have got so many of my friends. I mean, one of my best friends was my work colleague who was a maid of honor at the wedding.
Okay.
So for me, the relationship, because when I came to UK, I had no network of friends or family. I knew no one. So for me, work colleagues were my family.
Yes.
And that has, now obviously I've got a lot of other relationship and it has built up. But I have leaned in on those relationships at work so much from right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And those people are still a part of my life.
Yes.
I still call. I've got a friend of mine from Hugo Boss days. I was talking to her yesterday evening. Talking to her about the house project. She's an architect. And I was picking her brain.
Yes.
What do you think of this idea? Because when we did the first draft of the layout for the house, her husband, her and I were sat through the entire evening just drawing. That was fun evening for us. And so she was asking me yesterday, how is it going? And I was like, do you know what? I had a different idea. I've got planning for that one. But now, I know. And now I have a different idea. Exactly. So what do you think of that? But that's what it is, really, isn't it? That's what we are trying to say. That
lasting relationships, definitely.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think sometimes there is a bit of nervousness, where do you cross the line between professionalism and friendship? And I think that sometimes holds people back. But, I think it should be advocated, having good relationships, good friendships at work, because in my own experience, it really does help you to perform better. Because everybody's sort of looking out for each other. When you're doing huge projects and everybody's coming together with their different disciplines, their different expertise, it's kind of is like a bit of a family.
You spend more time at work than at home with your family members sometimes.
Some of those best projects that, they've gone not absolutely smoothly, because there's always things.
I'm scared when the projects go smooth. I start panicking. I'm like, what did I forget? What is going to go wrong?
But some of the best ones that I've worked on, I'll take you back to an example quite early on in my career, was we worked with Lendlease on a BBC headquarters project in White City. But the Lend Lease way was to set up the project so that all of the team members sort of gel and they do team building and that kind of thing. And I took that on to further projects with Royal Mail and suggested that we do something similar, where all of the key people, the key players, you build that trust. And I think that's so important. You've got to be spending maybe 18 months, 2 years sometimes together.
Yes.
You need to have those relationships that you can really rely on. Yeah.
Yes.
And also sometimes when the project is not going well, then you're able to pick up the phone and have an honest conversation, an adult conversation where you're not beating around the bush or hiding. This is what's happened. This is how we're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
And those are the times when you use that rapport
Definitely.
to build on for the future, right?
Yes.
Rather than,
And I think it's okay to disclose, obviously, it's all about degree, but it's okay to share your personal, your family life. So you can, it's fine to talk about your family situation. I think when I first joined, it was, you keep the two very separate. Yeah. I remember I had a few years ago, my son was on a TV show, The Apprentice, and he'd gone off and applied without us knowing.
We remember it well.
Remember it well. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to keep really quiet about this. And if somebody comes up to me and says, oh, he looks a bit like you, he's got your same surname, is it? And I was going to say, but my son came up to me just before he was about to go onto the TV, and he said, are you going to do a LinkedIn post for me?
Aww.
I said, what? I wasn't thinking to. He said, what do you mean you weren't thinking to? So I did one. And my Skanska colleagues were actually really supportive.
I bet they
so,
were.
watching it on a Wednesday, then coming into work on a Thursday, I didn't dread it or mind it, and I felt very sort of in the public glare. But they made it a really comfortable process for me, because they were asking and talking and being enthusiastic about it. So I brought something personal into work.
Yeah. And it's so important.
And it worked. Yeah. It worked for me because they were very supportive. So when he got fired, there's a lot of outrage in the office.
Everyone stopped watching Apprentice.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
I find those programs very stressful. Like the build-up.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
That and Dragon's Den.
Oh, yes.
I do like them, though.
I do. Yeah, I like them.
But, hey, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing, because I always feel that who we are as people, as we touched on it, like bringing your authentic self, and what does that mean to work, to your leadership style, and making people heard and seen. And I've learned that so much from you guys as well, because when we share stories, I definitely feel heard and seen within our group. Sometimes I do feel, I think I wrote this last week, I have a little bit of an imposter syndrome as well. Like I'm in company of giants when I'm with both of you.
Don't worry, I feel the same. I feel the same. Even my children say, why do they want to be your friends? They're so cool, both of them.
Stop it. No,
they did say that.
We need to be okay with praising each other, right?
Yeah.
Which is, the
Feedback.
wind in our wings.
All the feedback is good.
Yeah.
Because I know how we will give each other all of the good, and we will be straight up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have been so important to me, and that's why when we decided that we are going to do season 2 for the podcast, you were the first people to reach out, like quite literally. Even James, my husband, didn't know that I've decided to, because there have been people asking me, and then I was like, maybe not. So when I was like, no, right, it's the time to do, you were the first people I reached out to.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being amazing friends, extended family, and on the end of the WhatsApp text message list to reach out to whenever something good, something challenging happens. So thanks for being there.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
thank you for being our first guests on
Thank
season
you.
2.
Thank you for having us.